That's very smart. So what platform are you guys? Are you using StreamYard or VidStream or whatever? What are you using for this?
We use Restream.
Restream, that's a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Let's see. Is Sue's here? Or Mike, could I get you to confirm on, let's see, just check LinkedIn, make sure LinkedIn is good. And little note for you later, Alex. You notice if I put myself here, then I'm on top of the two ladies, so we need to fix that for next time around. I don't want to obscure their faces.
Oh, sorry. See what you're talking about.
Hey, Ashley. David is here. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Dave.
I hear you.
How are you, Dave?
Oh, there you are.
How are
Good,
you,
man.
Dave?
How about you? Good.
Having technical issues. I'm sure you're aware.
Hey, you're live right now, Mike.
I know.
We have to tell you about this great call that Dave and I had with a company yesterday or 2 days ago. There was like, I don't know how many, 10 people on the call. And was he the president or the owner? He's telling all the new young folks, like, you guys can't figure out the Zoom. Okay, you're on mute, figure it out. And everyone's looking around. He was like the sharpest one in the whole bunch. Just, hey guys, figure it out.
I'm surprised you're having this webinar on April 1st. I figured it was a Mindfire holiday.
Well, got to
Big
keep you on your
Mike.
toes.
What's that, Dave?
Yeah. I said Big Mike with the jokes, always.
But Mike, let's get real. That's like your number one joke. So you need to start
It is. You
refreshing
need a
your
new one, dude.
content. We're in a
You
new
need
decade
to refresh it.
I would, but I need
2022.
to. I need to reach out to Ramin and Faria and do that, but I can't do that right now.
He'll get a new one going for this year for sure.
Well,
Hi,
actually,
David. Hi, Ashley. I see you're here. Marilyn, you're just enjoying a little back chatter here. Go ahead, Mike. What's the next joke?
did Dave tell you we might be related?
Oh, jeez. Now that would be.
Now you're gonna have to explain that to everybody.
I know. Oh, goodness, Mike.
Dave is
I got my
finding out
kit
he's
though,
related
Mike,
to everybody.
yesterday.
You got your what?
I got my kit.
Oh,
So
did
I'm
you?
gonna, yeah, check it out, man.
Oh,
What
good.
kit?
Oh, Joanne, my dearest Joanne.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dave has a write-up of it somewhere that he can copy and
do.
paste
I
to
do.
you
I'll
of the
send
whole
it to you.
story.
Well,
I'm
I'm sure you
emotionally
can-
exhausted. I'm not
Get
sure
a
I can do it
cocktail
again.
and go this afternoon, and you can
For the
read his
15
story.
people that are on right now, Dave, you should just blog about it next week. Like, just blog
Okay.
about,
I will.
doing your DNA testing. Like, dude, I
Well,
think
I'm sure he
Yeah.
had already
That's
done it.
okay. Got it.
See, Mike knows me. You're actually right, Mike. I just did it somewhere where there's not a lot of people because I don't want my family freaking out. Yeah, I sent it to
Although
Ben.
to be fair, thank you to the blogs. Isn't that part of the reason how you found this
It
out in the
is.
first place? So
It's
you kind of have
precisely
to
the
give us
reason,
some
yeah.
credit.
Joanne, long story short, I found out last Friday that I have an uncle that I never knew about. And so my mom's got a brother. I've got new cousins. I've got a new aunt. Just crazy from my grandfather who had a little fun in his day. So that's what we're referring to.
It's interesting you say that because a very good friend of mine who I've known for forever, a month ago maybe, posted that he had just found out, probably the same way that you did, that he has a brother.
Whoa.
Now that's a little different from an uncle.
Yeah.
But yeah, he has a brother floating around out there.
Yep. Well, that's the situation that my mom is in, finding out that she has a brother.
That's just-
I see
wow.
Andrew is here, but he came in as a panelist. Let me promote, no, actually, he came in as an attendee. Let me promote him to panelist.
So are we
So,
going to be
my-
able to see all the other, like the normal chats?
Yeah, you should see it. You don't
I'm
have
only
access?
seeing, no, I'm only seeing host and panelists. I'm not seeing, even if I go to everyone, unless people have not been chatting, I'm not seeing any
Yeah, let's
conversations.
go ahead
Yeah.
and drop a hello to Joanne there, everybody, so she can see you. So what Mike is referring to is Mike is hoping, he is praying that we are somehow related because he wants to get into my will. That's his objective.
I just want to treat you like I treat the rest of my relatives.
Very good, Mike. Well, you
So
treat
the
them pretty
only
well.
hello, I got a hello from
David, right?
David.
Yeah.
To host some panelists.
There we go.
Right, because they can,
Yeah, so-
because the audience can chat to us, but they don't see each other. So as an example, David's one of the audience members. So we should be able to see everyone.
Yep,
So
you're
we
good.
should we should be able to see the normal chat stream is what you're saying.
Correct. That is going to be the normal chat stream.
Gotcha. Okay.
What's
Dude,
that,
I lost
Drew?
my camera. My connection to my camera.
Okay.
He's on camera.
Yeah, we see you
It's
on camera.
It's on computer, but I have his my regular camera.
Hey, Mark Spears, you're presenting?
No, sir.
He's like, oh crap, I didn't know you could see me. Yes, we can see you. We just saw what you did.
He came in as a panelist.
He did? There's no way. Oh, he did? Yeah, you're right. I wonder how
Do
that
I need to
happened.
change? Do I need to change
No, you
something,
can-
Dave?
You can speak today. Look at that.
Yeah, you can speak. You can take over, man. You ready? No?
Sure. I can do anything I want on my last day.
All right, Drew, we see you again. And I want to say hi to everybody who's here. I see David Murphy. Hey, David. I think that's the David Murphy that I know. David Foley. I see a couple Davids. Alicia's here. Elizabeth is here. If you're hearing me right now, folks, drop a hello. I see Erica Bean is here. Mackenzie, I think we were just talking about Erica yesterday. Francois. I see John, Marilyn. Alicia says, hi, everyone. I should have known from the title Joanne Gore was involved. All right.
What a
good.
great group of folks out there. It's really exciting.
Okay, Drew, looks like you're a little sharper now.
Yeah. That's good. I got my wife.
Good deal. Good deal.
Hi, Drew.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you? Good to see you.
Hello. What's up, Joanne?
Hi.
Oh, sweetie.
That was
Hi,
actually
Erica.
Mackenzie. Yeah.
Can we just do a webinar and just have Andrew show us his house in Costa Rica next time? Could we do that? next
Yeah.
week?
Oh,
That would work. I also
You
see
know-
friends
you
over
know
on
this guy,
LinkedIn. Hi, everyone on LinkedIn. I see Brad,
What's
Tony,
that?
Suzanne, Laurent, and Suzanne over there on LinkedIn. Hey, guys. All right, I'm going to start in about 2 minutes, everybody. Are you in the new house, Drew, or are you somewhere else right now?
I'm in a new house, but I mean, I don't even want to say I'm going through. My internet got switched over from the last owner to the new owner last night. So I have my computer in the corner of the house. I had to go across the street, buy food from them to get their internet. And I'm literally sitting in a corner to get internet from stealing it from across the street.
That's
So,
dedication, man.
That's
Thank you.
interesting.
Yeah.
Because I love you.
That's right. All right, I see John is here. Hey, John, how are you? Let's see who else I recognize. I see Braden. Is that your Braden, Joanne? I can't tell. I don't know the last
How many
name. there. No,
Bradens
it's
are
not.
there? There can't be
I
that
don't
many
know.
Bradens, right?
Right. Brian is here. Danica is here. Hi, everybody. You should be able to see me waving at you here on the screen. You should be able to hear us as well. I'm going to start in about 1 minute. Make sure you know where the chat is. Go over to the chat, drop a hello there into the chat, and say hi to Joanne and Mackenzie, Mike Robinson, Drew, and Lita. And if you're over on LinkedIn, please drop a hello. If you're seeing me at on LinkedIn right now, go over there and drop a hello. Want to make sure that we are connected there as well. Hi, Danica. It's good to see you. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started here in about 15 seconds. Hi, Al. George Platt is here. Thank you all for attending today. Let us know real quick in the chat where you are dialed in from right now. I want you to go over to the chat. Should be somewhere down below in Zoom or over there in LinkedIn. Let us know where in the United States or North America or the world you are dialed in from. I see Mark over in Texas, Elizabeth, Ohio. David is in Ontario, Canada, Phoenix, Arizona, Florida, Montreal, Colorado. Let's see my LinkedIn friends. Where are you all from? Let us know there in the chat. We want to know where everyone's from. Today, what we're going to be talking about is, a very set of pressing issues that are impacting our industry. And so if you're here in the room today, if you're on Zoom or if you're in LinkedIn, I suspect that at least one of these issues is impacting you. So welcome to Al and Warren who are here. And what it feels like these days, this is a meme that my wife sent me as I was preparing for this. What it feels like these days, and it's not just for us millennials. I'm on the tail end of that. I don't even know if I can call myself a millennial, but this is true for all of us. And it sounds cliche, but the last few years have been crazy, right? You wake up in the morning, you're like me, you grab your cell phone, you check out the news, and it's like, man, what new crisis are we going to live through today? And at some point, you're like, man, enough is enough, right? But these issues that we're talking about today, these are the things that are impacting the print community. And so we want to have a dialogue with you today and include the panel to get some unique insights into how folks are addressing these challenges. So what I want you to do right now, get your fingers ready, get your fingers warmed up, go over to the chat and drop a note in the chat. I want to know, I'm hearing some background noise. If you guys don't mind muting panelists until you're ready. Mac, maybe you can help me with that. But to the audience, go over to the chat and tell us, what is your biggest issue right now? As you think about your print business, as you think about your clients, even if you're not in print, maybe you're servicing organizations, because of how the world has changed and the supply chain issues, inflation, all of the things that we're facing, what would you say is your number one challenge right now? Go over to the chat. I want to see that coming in. Materials supply, says Danica. Specifically, what kind of materials, Danica? That would be good to know. I want to get a sense for in real time where you stand. Danica is saying substrates, okay? Give us some more context there, folks, so we know. Amy is saying envelopes. Mike,
I just had a conversation about that today.
Yeah? So don't be shy, folks. Go drop it into the chat there because I want you to know how you stand relative to your peers. Believe me, if you think you're alone in something, if you think you're only the one facing an issue, I assure you, you're not. There is a community here of people who are also facing similar challenges. If I look over on LinkedIn, I'm seeing Tony saying labor. We're going to be talking about that today. Brad is saying my biggest issue is the supply and demand. I have an order for 50,000 envelopes and I can only get 5,000 at a time. Anybody else resonate with that? I see Mike nodding his head, right, Mike? We know that. Glenn is saying PVC availability. Erica is saying I'm having trouble keeping ink in stock. Al is saying equipment and toner. Andrew says, I know people who have PVC and substrates. Okay, that's good. So as you're part of this community here, if you think you can help someone else, let us know there in the chat. We will make sure to get those connections made. Nancy is saying trying to find qualified employees is tough right now. Ted is saying ticking off the head of marketing that is in love with TV, radio, and billboard. Okay,
Ooh.
So yeah, that's a good one. So I want the panelists, make sure you've read those comments as they come in because we want to involve the audience in this conversation. And what we're hearing, folks, what we're seeing as we work with hundreds of service providers and print companies around the nation and around the world is that COVID-19, and again, this is going to sound cliche, we all know this, but COVID-19, the pandemic, was the catalyst behind so much change. And what we're seeing is that's resulting in three pressing issues. Firstly, supply chain and inflation struggles. Second, what we're calling the great shakeup of employees. And we're going to describe to you what we mean by that. And then thirdly, issues around how do you protect your clients and revenue. And so that's what we're going to be diving into today with the panel that we've assembled here that you see here on the screen that I'm going to introduce you to in Zoom here. But we've selected this panel because we think they have insight, but there's many of you here who are in the audience right now who should also be on this panel. So don't be shy. I want you to share your thoughts in chat. If you hear something that someone says, if Mike Robbins says something you disagree with, Mike's a big boy, go ahead and put that in the chat. We want to know. We want multiple perspectives on these topics as we discuss them. So let me introduce the panel to you. I'm going to go left to right here as you see them here on your screen. First up is Joanne Gore. Give Joanne a little love there in the chat. Joanne is the president of Joanne Gore Communications. She's a B2B marketer that I think you're going to find is really passionate about print. She has spent the last 3 decades, you wouldn't believe it by looking at her, of course, but she's been helping companies for over 30 years, software, hardware, print, manufacturing companies around the world, stretch their marketing dollar with programs that generate customer engagement. So Joanne, thanks for being here today.
It is my pleasure, Dave, always.
Thank you. Thank you. And then next up is Mike Robinson. He's the Director of Business Development at Summit Direct Mail. And along with John Barber, Ben Shank, and around 200 other committed team members, they've grown Summit to over 45 million. That number is probably too small at this point here. Mike, maybe you can correct me. They were founded in 2003. They offer innovative print, mail, and digital marketing services to their clients. Mike, thank you for being here. How are you?
I'm good. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's probably closer to 60 now, but yeah, it's we're growing, and like I said, I'm glad to be here.
And Andrew Edinger is next up here on the list, CEO of The Best Postcards. He's created one of the fastest growing print companies. They were founded in late 2019 and have consistently grown since that point, including through the pandemic. They're seeing around 20% month over month growth right now, despite the challenges that we're talking about today. And they're applying their unique direct mail product to home services, home improvement, contractor markets, and just doing an incredible job. Andrew, how are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it being here.
Thank you for being here. We appreciate you. And then Mackenzie, who is up in the upper right-hand corner. I'm going to move my head out of the way there so you can see her. Mackenzie is the Director of Sales and Demand Generation here at Mindfire. She's one of our key executives responsible for helping clients join the family. So that's print companies and agencies. And under her leadership, she's responsible for bringing them into the family. And she gets to see up close the challenges that many of you are facing here on a daily basis. Mac, thank you for being here.
Hi, thank you for having me.
And last but not least, certainly is Lita Wood. You see in the lower right-hand corner there. She's the Vice President of Customer Success. And along with Joe Manos and many others here at Mindfire, Lita's responsibility is around helping our clients grow. And these days, that's really summarized as helping our print clients drive more print, generate more print. Of course, that's challenged by the things we're talking about today, but I think you're going to hear some unique insights from her about what we're picking up from our clients and how we're helping them grow that will give you some new ideas. So Lita, thank you for being here. How are you? You're on mute,
I'm
Lita.
doing great, everybody. Nope,
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
doing great.
Awesome. Thank you. And in case we haven't met, I'm going to pull my big old head back up here on the screen. I'm Dave Rosendahl, president, co-founder here at Mindfire. It's my honor to serve all of the people that you see here on the screen. The reason our organization exists is to serve you and to serve our staff, and most importantly, to serve our clients. And then occasionally I get to moderate exciting sessions like this to bring the community together to work on these tough challenges. So that's your panel. And like I said, we want to hear from you in the chat as well. But before we go on, Mackenzie, I'm going to throw this at you first. Help people understand the lens through which we at Mindfire see the world so that they can understand some of the context and some of the ideas that you and Lita are going to be throwing out from the Mindfire perspective. And folks, we're not here to sell you anything. That's not our goal. We're here to bring you the best of what we're learning. But I think it's important that you understand the vantage point through which we're looking at the print industry. So Mackenzie, who is Mindfire and how do we see the conversation that we're looking at today?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can see a little description here on the screen, but ultimately what we aim to do is help print organizations or service providers, maybe you're an agency that highly leverages print, help you create and develop innovative marketing solutions, both for your organization and for your clients that really leverage print and drive print. So print plus digital solutions. And again, the goal here is to help you create these solutions, launch them for your customers, and enable you to protect and grow your revenue over long term.
Very good. And so you have a little description here of what it is we do. I'll go ahead and click through here for you. Tell me where to go.
Yeah, you can just bring up the whole thing up in the beginning. But as you saw in the previous slide, we talk about omni-channel. And so a lot of people have heard cross-media, omni-channel, multi-channel, right? You hear this many, many different ways. The reason why we came up with OptiChannel is because we believe that every single person, no matter what they do, they have a preference in how they communicate. And if you want to get in front of them, you need to find them natively where they hang out or where they spend their time. And so the place that you market to a B2B person might be different if you're working for a brand that's trying to communicate with a certain consumer base. And so we're all about OptiChannel, short for optimal channel, so that we can empower you to reach and engage your audience no matter wherever they hang out, so that you can help create that relationship.
Very good. All right. I forgot to put that last bullet on the screen there for you, but I think you summed it up well. So that's the vantage point through which we're looking at the industry here, folks. And so right now, without further ado, we're going to get into the meat of the discussion. And as I mentioned to you at the start, the first pressing issue that we're seeing, and I think almost universally reflected in the chat, is the issue of supply chain, and then also closely tied to that, inflation struggle. So I want you to tell me by dropping a 1 in the chat. I want you to drop a 1 in the chat if these issues, this first challenge that we're talking about here, is something that's applicable to you. I want to see that in LinkedIn. Drop a 1 in LinkedIn. Drop a 1 in Zoom. As you're doing that, it's funny. I was thinking back to how I have kind of helped this conversation together with Lita and Matt come together. And a few weeks back, I did this poll on LinkedIn, and I asked folks, how are you compensating for a lack of paper? And that's, I know, something that a lot of you are struggling with. And 24% said they're partnering with other printers. 23% said they're selling more digital marketing. Mackenzie, I think you have an anecdote about that. 30%, the largest number here, said that they're dealing with it by crying. Drew, I don't know, you and I have had some lengthy conversations about this. I think you can probably relate to that. This is a tough issue. 30% of your peers, I think they're joking a little bit, but I know there's also some sincerity there. This is a tough challenge. So let me first turn to you, Joanne. As you work with printers, what's something you see them doing to address the supply chain issues and perhaps the inflation struggles as you work with a variety of different printers across North America? What are you seeing right now?
Thanks, Dave. There's a couple things. First and foremost, I see a lot more printers working together. We're seeing it in the chat. Somebody needs something. Oh, we've got something. Let's work together. And I really like the whole idea about printers helping printers. That's what we're here for. There is a lot of work out there, and if we can all get together and help each other out, it will only serve to grow our industry more. So that is absolutely one thing I'm seeing. The other area that I'm seeing is some are taking a little bit of a shift in their go-to-market strategies. So they might not be able to fulfill new orders or new jobs, but they can certainly still maintain previous client volumes. So it turns into a client retention go-to-market strategy versus a net new lead gen strategy. And it's a tremendous opportunity to really dig in and show customers how much you care and how you're there for them and work with them, much like we did at the beginning of the pandemic, where we all reached out, how are you doing? We're here for you. It's a different conversation, but it's still the opportunity to say, how are you doing? We're here for you. There's a lot going on. We don't want you to be worried about it. And both of those approaches, I think, are advantageous for any business, particularly the print business.
Mike, I know you and I have had a lot of discussions about the different supplies and things that you're needing. And I know when I read the message from LinkedIn, you nodded your head about envelopes. So how are you dealing with the supply chain issues?
Well, we are partnering with other printers that have potential paper. For us, it's certain components of paper, like envelopes are a challenge for everybody. So envelopes is a big challenge. But then, I've got enough letter paper to do 8.5 by 11 letters, 8.5 by 14 letters, but I don't have envelopes. So we're trying to reach out partners, see what we can do there. The challenge is trying to move a client, not necessarily out of digital, but maybe to a different substrate, a different program. I can print letters, but I can't print the envelopes. So, hey, let's look at self-mailers. Well, I can't do self-mailers because I'm limited on allotment to 100-pound gloss cover, things of that nature. So I think we've probably turned down, and Joanne hit it on the head. I think we've probably turned down, I don't know, 50 or 60 million pieces over the last 3 to 4 months.
Wow.
Just simply because we can't get it. But now what we're doing is trying to keep our current existing clients happy the best we can. As much as we'd like to ramp up volume, even more, it's getting more and more difficult. So yeah, we are taking care of our current customers, making them plan months in advance. With envelopes being in short supply and having to order 3 and 4 months out, they're having to pay more because I'm having to order blank envelopes. And then once I order blanks, then I got to go back and reprint, teaser copy, logos, things of that nature. So it's a challenge, and we're just trying to kind of limp through it right now. Hopefully it'll end soon. I don't see it ending soon, but I hope it will.
I'm going to go to you, Drew, next, but I want to read something that Laurent on LinkedIn just said. Laurent said, I suppose that supply chain can protect revenue when small and key accounts are in the same flow. Small can get best prices on paper, for example. Laurent, interesting point there. Drew, I know, again, you and I have had conversations about this. How are you addressing supply chain?
I'm buying anything I can at any price that I can. My clients all seem to really understand in all their businesses, they raise their prices 20, 30%. So when I come to them and I tell them it's 10% more, on the product that
Drew's a little pixelated there, right?
It really doesn't. I'm looking at everything in terms of opportunity costs.
I think Drew's a little pixelated, guys. We'll come back to you, Drew. I don't want to miss out on what you said, Drew. I don't know if there's a way you can dial in. Maybe that'll take care of it. Yeah, we hear you, but it's a little pixelated. Let me, let's try you. Somebody text him to let him know. Mackenzie, I think you're back, right, Mac?
Yes,
you're here?
I'm
All
here.
right, so we heard from Mike, we heard from Joanne. Now, from your vantage point, as you talk to customers, how are they addressing the supply chain issues, and are there any insights or ideas that you can share with everyone here?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I saw in the chat prior to, when we were getting wound up, that a few people talked about envelopes, and I actually had a conversation with a client this morning. So there's two things regarding supply chain inflation. Number one is people are saying, A, I can't get stuff, and B, even if I can, potentially the prices are too high where it's not going to be the best or optimal solution for our customer, right? So today we were talking about this customer who does healthcare surveys on behalf of some healthcare organizations. And typically what they do is they have a printed survey, they put them in these very specific envelopes, they send them out to recipients, that person, flags it and sends it back. Then they said, look, our customer just can't afford to do it. And the envelopes that we were supposed to get are now going to come in June. What do we do? And so the whole point here is that as we think about these challenges, we as service providers need to be willing to diversify and create solutions that may not be what we normally do, right? You have to look outside of what we do every single day. And so with this organization, we came up with a digital response. So they're going to be using a variable QR code. Now it is in healthcare. So one of the things the customer was worried about was the data security, right? So what they're doing is they're creating a unique identifier. On the page, there is going to be no ask for any information. The personalized landing page is not going to have their name or anything associated with the individual, but it's going to be a unique identifier that on the back end, they'll match up. Person gets their print, they scan to go to the survey, they fill out their survey, submit, and that data is going to be collected and aggregated and be sent to them every single day in a report. And so the interesting thing is we came up with a solution, and the customer then said, well, going forward, after we do it for this next launch, we want to provide this option for all of our surveys going forward. So not only is it a solution to their challenge right now, but it opened up the door for opportunity for downstream projects to expand the services and the programs that they're running for that customer.
So this was a printer, Mackenzie?
Yes, printer.
Okay, very good. Joanne's saying, I love that QR codes are creating digital experiences. Did you just make up that word, Joanne?
I did not
Digital.
make up that word. I've been using
No?
that word actually since before the pandemic. I
Wow.
stumbled into it And it's really where you blend the physical and digital world. So we're comfortable in digital. You get something with a QR code, that's physical. Now you scan it, takes you back to digital. That's a phygital experience.
I love it. I love
That's
it.
really
I just
cool.
learned something. Yeah, Alicia is saying not everyone can use a QR code. Older folks in healthcare systems or in general have an issue trying to do things online. Interesting, Alicia. Yeah, there's always good counterpoint to that. So, Lita, before we move off this question, let's talk supply chain and inflation struggles from the vantage point that you have here inside of Mindfire. What are you seeing folks do to address this?
Well, let me just close something that Mackenzie was just saying, actually. So especially for our printer friends, because as you're moving to digital, one of the things I see this inside too, is that printers are still thinking print and still thinking about making money on print. And so as we're talking to them about better serving their customers in the short term, to Mackenzie's point, the customer might like that as a long-term solution. However, I spent time with a customer yesterday that what we basically did was come up with a similar solution, but the print that did happen was significantly higher value. So the printer didn't lose out in the end on their margin and their print, because the print that it was coming off of the deal was actually less print, but much higher margins. So it's just a way of looking at the market differently. And then obviously they can always go back to printing to inspire that at the beginning again at any time. So I just wanted to kind of think through that. So that's one of the things we're really spending our days talking to customers about. What are their issues? How do we help them? How do we help them think differently? And I feel like Mindfire spends, really our job is to help you come up with innovative marketing solutions that help you keep your business running and help your customers be more successful. It often drives more prints. And in this marketplace right now, it's helping you to retain those customers until you can get to those print volumes again.
Before we move off of this question, Mike, I'm going to go back to you for a second here, Mike Robinson. How are you looking at passing price increases on to your clients? How do you look at doing that, and how are you doing that?
Transparency. Everybody knows, gas prices, everything's going up. We're just having that difficult discussion and just saying, look, guys, everything costs more. I have to go to the point where I'm actually sending the mill letters from, IP or Domtar or whoever directly. I'll forward to my customers, and it says, hey, paper is going up 6 to 9%. So we've got to pass that across. So we're just open and honest. And it's just getting, everything is getting more expensive, and you have to be transparent, especially with your customers, because the challenge is it's not like they can go somewhere else because of all this paper and all this allotment and the price increases. If they think that they can go to another vendor and do it, possibly, but more than likely not, because for us, we are actually allocated a certain amount of stock for the existing customers we have. So if I get a new customer, the likelihood of getting paper for that, maybe might not get it. So if someone wants to leave, whether it's me or somewhere else, and go somewhere else, it's difficult. So you got to be open and honest and say, guys, here's what's happening. Once it comes down, we'll relook at pricing, but this is what it is right now. And if you want this mail, this is what you have to pay. And sometimes, we do a lot of stuff roll fed. Roll fed is a lot cheaper than sheet fed. And sometimes we have to go to a sheet fed solution, which costs more money. And we have to tell them that and say, guys, here's your options. Either you don't do it or you pay this cost. And, sometimes they don't do it, and sometimes they understand and deal with it.
I see George saying, I loved the Jimmy Carter years. The press is doing our job for us. Just pass it along. Nancy said, most of our clients are understanding about the materials increase because they too are experiencing these issues in their own business. So is anybody here in LinkedIn or anybody here in Zoom doing anything differently than what you've just heard from these replies here? Drop it in the chat. If anybody has any brilliant ideas, again, this is a community here that's working to serve one another. We're trying to help everybody in the community learn, not only from the panelists, but also from those of you here in the audience. I'm going to move on to the next question. If you have any other insights, please drop those in here. The next issue that we are talking about here today, the second stressor, if you will, is what we're calling the great shakeup of employees. And so this is an issue that's comprised of a few things: losing key people, either on your end or even at a client's location, or the difficulty that we have in finding good people. So is anybody struggling with that here? Drop a 2 in the chat in Zoom and in LinkedIn. Drop a 2 in the chat if you're struggling with any of those issues related to staff, related to people, either on your location or at the customer location. So I'm going to go to you first, Joanne. I see the 2s coming in here. How are resignations, the great resignation and the shakeup that we're talking about here, how are you seeing that impact the printers that you're working with?
It's interesting because I've always taken an approach where I can help companies, printers, manufacturers, when they have a marketing deficit. So the fact that that's been sort of magnified right now does not change my approach, in the sense that I know how hard it is to hire the right people. I sat in that corporate marketing seat for 30 years, being that team of 1 that really should have been 7, trying, working with elastics and bubble gum just to get a bunch of stuff done. And I learned that you can't rush a new hire, no matter what the role is. But if you can have somebody who understands that role and can help you while you look for that hire, then that just lets you focus on the other areas of your business that need attention. So what I like to do is say, whether, if you need a set of eyes, or you need somebody to run your marketing team, or you went from 3 people to 1 person, or now, that person who was working from home decided they like their side hustle more and they're not coming back, or they're coming back part-time. There are ways that you can maintain and, in fact, grow your marketing when you work with partners. Again, it could be other printers who have marketing team. It could be other agencies. It could be consultants like, or agencies like us, where we basically become your virtual team. There are ways that you can supplement that hire while you wait or find that perfect hire. And I realize it doesn't work for every single role, especially, certain manual labor. I totally get it. But when you're talking about sort of marketing departments, marketing teams that really need to help you grow your business, the last thing you want to do is have to learn, oh no, now I have to figure out, how do I change something on the back end of my website? Oh, I have to figure out how to post on LinkedIn now. Oh, holy crap, we have a newsletter that hasn't gone out in 2 months. All of this stuff adds up, and you've got enough crap on your plate. So sometimes it's okay to just ask for a little bit of help until you get through. And that's really what I try and do, is just add that lending hand. And I see it working really well long before the pandemic, and long after we get through this hurdle. It's going to be an ongoing thing. People move, people get pregnant, people decide that they're changing jobs, whatever it is, people move around. So you have to have a backup plan.
David, I see your note there. Yeah, you did. And I see David Murphy's note there in chat. I'm actually going to pose that to the panel here in just a second, but I want to go to Mike next before I get to David's question here. So Mike, I know even going back probably 6 months, you and I, you were sharing with me like how it's difficult. You've tapped out the pool of people in areas around where your plants are located, where your offices are located. You're having a heck of a time finding people. So has it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Where do you stand in terms of being able to find people right now?
I actually was going to make a comment to David Murphy's comment, but I'll let you go because you know my opinion on that. I'm probably one of the exceptions on this for the most part. But so we've done a couple of things. Yes, we are. It's getting a little bit better. We are finding people. The challenge is good people. A lot of people leave. They want to go to Amazon and make $25 an hour, but it doesn't last long. For whatever reason, Amazon from what we're hearing, is a terrible place to work for a long period of time, and they're leaving and coming back and doing things. Whether that's true in all places, but around where we are, we've seen people come and go. What we've had to do is kind of a positive, is in order to fix the labor situation, we've invested in more technology. And, for example, inserters, the swing arm inserters used to go at $5,000 an hour. We're now buying inserters that go $15,000 to $20,000 an hour. So for every 3 swing arm inserters, I can have a single insert that has 2 people on it versus 6. We're, embracing the inkjet webs, where it's, print on demand, high speed, 700 feet a minute type stuff, high speed cutters, folders. One, it's going to help us be competitive in the world. And 2, it's going to keep us from not worrying as much about employees. We can do the same with less employees. Obviously, we still need more, but it is helping. And like I said, we can address that other comment that David said.
Yeah, we will in a second. Yeah.
After these other ones. Yeah.
Drew, let's see if we are able to hear you now. If it's pixelated again, maybe you can try turning off your camera. But you've built an incredible culture, Drew. As I've come to get to know you over the past many years, you've hired some incredible people. You have an incredible team around you. What's it like finding talent right now for you, and kind of how are you navigating that at this point?
So we're pretty fortunate because we have basically had no turnover whatsoever. We've learned long ago what we preach to our clients, and it's top-down leadership. So we've instituted profit sharing, no hierarchy, empowerment, no micromanagement, no yelling, no screaming. But really, when somebody comes along, the theory is don't pass on good talent, because eventually when you look back at all the salaries of all the people who you hired that didn't work out, and you say, wow, I have $400,000 in the book of last year of people who are no longer with me, it would be better off to pay 70 grand for that person instead of the 55 that you try, find that right person and pay them more, because they will save you 10 times more the amount of money by not passing on good talent.
Amazing. Mac, what about you? What are you seeing within our clients as people come into the family? How are they handling this issue of great shakeup of employees?
Yeah, so when you pose the question, you kind of pose 2 things, right? One is, how do we as employers retain and attract talent?
Yep.
The other one is, well, this is also happening at our customer. So I'm going to take the latter angle, since we had some voices on the first angle. What I'm talking about is, let's say you've been in business for 40 years. You've always had 1 or 2 key contacts at your clients. So think back to all the clients. Do you have 1 or 2 relationships that they were the one always ordering the print? You developed that relationship, and now that person's gone, or now that person's in another role, and now you're not sure how to get in contact with them. The new people that are there don't know that you're the provider that does all the work. And so what I'm talking about is the other way, which is, okay, how do I deal with my customers' turnovers at their organization? So this is kind of a weird answer, but I think that what we as organizations need to realize is that this all comes back to marketing and going what I call wide in an organization. If you as a provider or a vendor of a customer work with 1 person, and that's the only person who knows you, right? Or maybe 1 or 2, and it's been the same person, quite frankly, you're vulnerable at that point, right?
Yep.
You need to extend beyond that 1 key contact, that 2 key contacts, and you need to start to develop a deeper relationship at that organization. And that comes back to marketing, getting visible in front of more people at your clients. Do that on things like LinkedIn. Take the time to maybe go out there or send something, use video, or just start to develop awareness and a relationship with more people, because the more people that you're able to build a relationship with, the less vulnerable or susceptible you are if 1 or 2 people leaves, which we know is happening, right? This whole section is about the shakeup of employees. So this is inevitable. Right. And so it's our job to not, we can cry about it, or we can just do what we can to market our organization, get deeper in our clients, and help them. Not to mention, this is also counterintuitive, but marketing your organization is also going to help you attract talent. Let me say that again. Marketing your organizations is going to help you attract good talent. Because when
Maybe
talent
say it
is
one more time, Mackenzie.
Marketing your organization is going to help you attract good talent. I got it that time.
There you go.
And what I mean by that is, if someone's thinking, should I join company A, B, C, or D? Again, people have choices, and they go online and your company has kick A marketing and you're out there on social and they see, wow, this is an innovative organization. I want to be a part of that culture. Versus another brand who doesn't have social presence, who isn't communicating, they can't see anything. Which company do you think they're going to join? Right. So leverage your marketing to go wide in your customers' organizations and to attract good talent. There you go.
Lita, what are your thoughts?
Yep. Okay. I'm going to expand on what Mackenzie just said but for a different reason. I think it's an opportunity. And the reason I say that is because I think that printers, if they have marketing capabilities or they have the partners to do that, a Mindfire, a Joanne, a David Murphy, all of these folks who are out there that they can partner with, they can actually go in and say, hey, I heard you lost your marketing person. Or I noticed you lost your marketing person and you're not printing right now. Do you need some help? Can I come in and help you? And so I actually see it as an opportunity to go into those clients, as Mackenzie was saying, and to tell them, should you lose support or help, at least in your marketing organization, that we can help with that. We can't help in the printing side, Mike, but at least from a marketing perspective, we can step in and do that. So
right. Well, before we move on to the next question, David Murphy in the chat, as Mike alluded to and I mentioned, dropped something that I want to get your input on. So I want everybody in LinkedIn, I want everybody in Zoom to give their opinion on this. And I think I'm going to simplify it so that we can just get a general read for what David said here. So David said, more businesses are embracing the remote, global, contracted workplace. If people do not need to be in the office, they can be anywhere. So here's my question to you, and I'm going to simplify it. Work from home, is it good or is it bad? And I know that's a general simplification of the situation. I understand there are many nuances, but drop the word good or bad into the chat. And let's just get a general sense for where everyone stands. I want to see that in LinkedIn. I want to see it here in Zoom. I'm seeing good, good. Warren saying bad. Good, says Francois. I love it. Good, says Alex. Bad, says David. Neither, says Michael. Michael, that wasn't an option. Good, says Ashley. Fantastic, says Andrew. Good, says Alicia. Good, says Al. I think I'd mentioned that one. Good, says Kent. Warren says, I like to be around people. Okay, that's good. I understand that perspective. Yep.
Ike is chomping at the bit.
Yeah, Kyla said good over on LinkedIn. Let's see, Laurent, I'd like to hear what you have to say. Let's hear the contrasting view, the representative of that view, Mr. Mike Robinson. Go ahead, sir.
So I struggle every day. We all struggle every day with employees and shakeups, and everybody thinks the answer is working remote. I have more challenges daily with the working remote than anything else. I mean, it might be just me. Obviously, as a production facility, we have to have employees at the office, right? That is what it is. You can't run an inserter or a web press remotely. But the people that potentially can work remote, the challenge is most people, I say most, again, most people that I work with, so I can caveat that, aren't disciplined enough to work from home. I am so sick and tired of people's cats and their kids and all this stuff in the background. If you don't think that is distracting for someone to do their job, you're wrong. You're absolutely wrong. You putting that stuff aside, just the sheer collaboration of people together on a whiteboard. Dave, how many times have I been to your shop or been to your offices and sat down and we whiteboarded things and probably got things cleared out 10 times faster?
Thousands, yeah.
So,
yep.
There's something to be
Mike, that's the world we live in, and that's the world our clients live in, so they can relate.
Not necessarily. The problem is, if people were disciplined enough, you might be right. But I'm telling you, more people that I'm working with, maybe you are an exception, Andrew, and maybe you don't have that problem. But I'm telling you, the working from remote with most of the people who aren't disciplined is for me is a lot worse.
Let's hear what some of the others are saying here, Mike. Let's hear what they're saying. David's saying hire responsible people, Mike, and hold them accountable for results. They don't need to take up space in an office. Ashley says dogs, LOL. David says commuting is distracting. Brian is saying, Mike, you can whiteboard in Zoom, dude. I'm adding a little interpretation to my comments there. Joanne is saying now would be now would not be a good time for my dogs to start barking. David is saying, Howard Levitt, I think, Canada's leading labor lawyer, says that productivity declined by 21% as a result of remote work. Also, in my view, collaboration and ideation mostly disappear. So, Mike, that's similar to your view there. Michael says, it depends on the person and the job. I work in an office by myself with the door shut. My significant other works at home perfectly. It's the person. There is no easy answer.
I would agree. I would agree with that, Dave. I would agree with that. It just, I mean, we're having people. We actually have people leave. I talked to another printing company that they allow their customers, they allow their CSRs to work remote, and they're working remote, not even in the industry anymore. So it is a challenge. It is a difficult question. Everybody has their opinions. I mean, a lot of these people, based on some of these comments, you know, we've been very successful doing what we've been doing for a long time. We do have people, we have data processing people that work remote, and it works well. Some positions.
Where does your number one salesperson work, Mike? That's just out of curiosity. Does he work in the office or at home?
He works at home. But again, he's a sales guy, Dave. He gets paid on production. If he doesn't do anything, he's not getting paid. You know, a lot of these people don't get paid on performance. If they did, it might be a different story. So I'm in an office every single day. Like I said, it depends on the person, but I can tell you I have more challenges with us with some of this remote stuff than not. And again, we do have data processing people that work remote every single day. They get their job done. They get a job done well. But there's certain people that wanting to work remote that just don't work.
Joanne, I see you have your hand up. You want to add something before we move on? Great discussion here.
Yeah, again, I've been working remote virtually, running this agency before COVID. And one of the biggest challenges I always had was convincing people that we could service their marketing needs no matter where we were in the world. And that entire conversation went away when we all got remote, and I was able to prove my point. Now, all that being said, even when I was in the corporate world, I'd say once I gave birth to child number 3, which was 20 years ago, I always worked hybrid. It was built into my contract that at least 2 days a week, I was going to be working from home because I knew that's how I could be more productive. In the office was when I would go for meetings. So I would schedule any meetings, any face-to-face stuff that needed to be done. If I was getting ready for a trade show and I need to set up FedEx boxes and paperwork, whatever needed to be done, that's what I did in the office. But the real hands down work, when you're shutting your door and your head is down and you're just trying to get poop done, then you can do that from home and you don't have to worry about the commute. And, in my case, that saves 3 hours of my day. So would you rather be paying me 3 hours to commute or to work? So again, Mike, to your point, it does depend on the actual role that you play. But I also think it has to do with the mindset. Software companies, tech companies, they do more of them do a great job at involving their team virtually. My son works for a company that's on the other side of the country. Throughout the pandemic, they've got team powwows, team meetings, check-ins, virtual lunches, team building things. They figure out a way to continue to involve the team virtually and provide them with the tools they need to be successful virtually.
Mac, I'll give you one tie down point and then we got to move on. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Mackenzie.
I will say though, there's 2 points here. Number one is how do we as organization leaders work together with our employees? That's one thing. But then there's also how do we work collaboratively and successfully with our customers. And I do think that Mike brought up a good point, which is there are, when people are at home, other distractions that might impede upon our customers' ability to understand us, to listen to us, to capture what we're trying to say. So I do think that his point is really well taken. And that as an organization, if there are customer-facing people that are, working with Zoom, there needs to be some standards and there needs to be a discussion because this is a new thing, right? So new things require playbooks and direction to get everyone on the same page and working productively. So Mike, I think that's a good point and something that organization leaders need to discuss if their team members are customer facing.
But one last comment I'll make, Dave, what kills me right now is my customers working remote, because there is nothing better. And you know this with us, Dave, with me, with Ben, all our guys. There's nothing better than going to meet with a customer face to face. Nothing better than that. It gets you, it
100%.
overcomes some of the, with us, some mom and pop wanting to do something is different, but a large customer selling millions and millions of pieces, those are the ones that we do meet face to face with, even if they're working remote. So, even these people are working remote, I still try and find ways to meet with them face to face, because it does make a difference, and it has made a difference in us, whether or not they decide to do it.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, David. David Murphy, everybody give it up for David for raising that, and good, robust discussion here. I think if I had to answer my own question, I would answer it like some of you did. It really depends. It can be good. It can be bad. It depends. And there's a lot of other factors that I think are at play. So let me get into the third issue, and I'm going to ask the panelists to try to be as concise as possible so we don't run out of time. The third issue that we are seeing, the third issue that we're debating now here, is around how to protect clients and revenue when you lack paper, when you lack the envelopes, when you lack the people, with all these pressures in front of us. How many people are wrestling with this? Drop a 3 into Zoom or into LinkedIn. If you're, being kept up at night thinking about how am I going to hold on to the clients that I have, let alone grow, but how do I hold on to the ones that I have? Drop a 3 in the chat if that's on your mind. Let me go first to you, Joanne. What are your thoughts here, and how are you seeing print companies trying to protect their clients and the revenue that they already have?
Well, I think I mentioned it at the very top of the hour, Dave, and it really goes down to communication. Have conversations with them, reach out to them. If you're a PSP, now's the time to do a real kick-ass direct mailing campaign to your top clients. Not sure who they are? Maybe now's the time to go through your CRM and clean it up and figure out who are your top customers, where are you making the most money, and where are you losing the most money? And let's focus on where you're making the money and keep that revenue flowing using what you do best. Communicate with them, show them what you can do, how you can help them, and just keep those lines of communications need to stay open.
Mike, I know you and John and Ben, and certainly you've included us in these conversations, really think hard about how do you protect your clients? How do you keep those clients happy? What's your view on how to do that, and how are you doing that there at Summit?
Obviously, we're trying to protect all of our clients, but what we're having to do due to paper and supply chain is we're having to go through and look at our bottom lowest producing, lowest margin clients, because it's all about still making sure we have to make money. If we don't make money, then we can't take care of our current customers. So we are now having to look at, and instead of taking every single job or keep all of our customers, say, hey, look, these are the bottom producing ones. These are the ones that are breaking even or less margins. And we're having to help transition those out or do something else with them and utilize that material, et cetera, for higher margin clients, to protect,
Wow.
At least the revenue side. The client side, on the client side, we're getting more requests than we ever have before. More and more people are coming to us, obviously, because most people don't have paper. So the hard challenge is bringing in new customers, getting rid of lower margin customers, and try to make these newer customers good, solid, high margin clients.
Drew, what about you? How are you protecting the clients that you have and keeping them on contract? What's unique about you is you don't have them on contract, right? They all renew month to month. So how are you holding on to your customers?
Well, I mean, Mike really just hit it on the head, and I actually used something that I heard Mike talk about a long time ago. But first of all, you have the conversations with your clients about their businesses. So when they're telling you about their challenges and how they're having supply chain issues and how their products are going up in value, it's easy to transition into why you need to charge more. But, there's no more HH Global work. Nobody wants any of that work because they look at the opportunity cost and they say, I don't need to sell you 12 million pieces and make 1.5 cents a piece when I can sell those 12 million pieces over the course of 2 weeks and make 13 cents. But I heard Mike talk about, the Wayfair Act and the SOC 2 training, and which is all stuff that I actually thought through with because of you, Mike, and it's become a great selling point. It is absolutely a great selling point when we tell our clients, listen, the day is going to come where no direct mailer is going to be able to put out direct mail unless they're SOC 2 certified. There's too much data. And whether you think you can get away with it or you're above the law, everybody's got to pay taxes. And if you don't pay taxes, you're leaving yourself open. So we cover the taxes for you. We figure out what the taxes are and we're paying them for you, you know? So we went ahead and we did that, and it costs us money, but we've gained a lot more money by offering that out, you know, as Mike's suggestion. He said that's what he was gonna do. He's gonna attack other printers by saying, is your guy charging taxes? And it's been phenomenal, you know? Just the fact that you're bringing it up and you're showing that you care about the client, great selling point, Michael.
Mackenzie, let's go one thought from you and then one from Lita so we don't run out of time here. How are you seeing folks protect clients and their revenue right now?
Yeah, I think it's just having open conversations, asking your customers, what are their challenges? What are they experiencing? And then number two, being able and willing to diversify and create solutions that may be outside of what you normally do. Ultimately, it's about uncovering what the issue is, supporting them and solving them. And that alone is going to bring you closer to your customers than ever before.
Lita, what kind of strategies are you seeing some of the folks you're working with use to protect their customer base?
Education is a big one, I think. And then the other one is, and like somebody else said it earlier, they're seeing a lot of other customers that are coming to them, new faces, new names. So they're taking care of those customers also. But the ones you are not hearing from are the ones that you need to protect, because loyalty right now is kind of out the door, right? People are switching, and you know, if they hired somebody new, they might be going to somebody else, or they just might be finding another way to deliver their print. So you know, communicating with all of your customers and staying really close with them and educating them is the key, I think.
Yeah, that's scary to think about. The ones that aren't reaching out to you are the ones that you're most at risk. You might be lulled into a false sense of confidence.
Yeah.
Those are interesting points. I want to make sure that we get to your questions, folks, and any other commentary. But I want to give you a moment to follow up with the panel and with us here. If there's something that has resonated here, or there's something you want to dig deeper into. But first, let me ask you all a question. Have you gotten at least one new idea from this discussion? Drop an X in the chat, LinkedIn and Zoom, if you got at least one new idea from the conversation today. Did you get at least one new little bit of insight? I want to go into Q&A, but I want to know who got something. I see David got some insights out of it. That's great, David. And you sparked a great conversation. Thank you, Michael. You as well. I appreciate you both. And I'm sure others of you also picked up a few things. And while you do that, I know that there are some of you here who might have more questions. You might want to go deeper into some of these topics around how we can help you overcome some of these challenges. We've got more sessions like this lined up over the coming weeks. If you're not on our list and you want to make sure you get invited to other sessions, let us know in the chat, drop your preferred email, and we'll make sure to get you signed up. But second, if today's discussion, if anything Mike or Andrew or Lita, Mackenzie, Joanne, anything anyone has said has sparked an idea, and you have a question that you would like to discuss with us one-on-one, I want to give you an opportunity to do that. We met in advance of this session knowing that there would be a lot coming out of it, a lot of questions and ideas. So I asked the team to set aside some time, some blocks of time over the next week so that we can speak with you one-on-one about how we can help you combat these issues and how we can help you fight back. So if you would like to spend some time with us, I'm going to throw up a URL here on the screen. As is the team here in Zoom. They're going to drop this URL into the chat. We've got about 4 people that have some time allocated for next week to talk this through with you one-on-one. So Mindfire team, please drop that into LinkedIn and Zoom. When you go to that URL, you'll have an opportunity to request one of these chances to talk with us. And so if you're a print company, I know we have some agencies here. I know we have marketing services companies here. You might be the owner, you might be in leadership, sales, or marketing. But at the end of the day, what you're realizing is that in order to serve clients and to work through these issues, you need to offer your clients something new, something different, and you need to think differently about how you're going to do that. That's who this call is for, and we're going to help you think through, what is the challenge? How might we be able to help you solve that? Exactly what it is that you're trying to achieve. And we'll go through some specific steps that might be able to help you make your way and navigate the next step. So if you're interested and you have interest and you have a need, I give you permission to turn me down. Go over to this URL. My team has dropped it into the chat. You're going to see a little form that looks something like this. I'll move my head out of the way. And just take a moment to fill that in, and we will be able to then set up some time on the calendar and walk you through that. Now, what I want to do is give you an opportunity to ask questions of the panel. And so I'm going to spend the next about 5 minutes or so to make sure that we get to your questions. So let's see. If you have a question for the panel, or if you have a counterpoint, I see Andrew saying, does anybody have paper? Let me actually see if anybody's got paper here. Andrew, do you want to talk about the type of paper you want? I think everybody needs paper, but what are you looking for, Andrew? Are you still here? All right. Let's see. Oh, yeah. What are you looking for?
Rolls.
Say it one more time.
40-pound magazine coated rolls.
All right. Okay. David is saying printers can't let their clients abandon print altogether and fully pivot to other digital-only alternatives. Yep. Instead, keep print clients engaged with a digital plus print hybrid solution. Amen.
Hey, Dave.
David, we agree. Yes, sir.
That goes to a point. I was at a trade show last week, and I had heard there was a couple people talking about that cookieless advertising coming in, and more people were getting concerned about that being able, their digital budgets are now going away because of the way that they used to market. They won't be able to do in the future. And we had a ton of people coming by, seeing us, wanting to engage back in direct mail. So if you guys aren't aware of it, I'm not an expert at that side of it, but there is some, obviously in the next couple of years, there's some digital restrictions coming for digital marketing with cookieless advertising, et cetera. A lot more people are looking down the direct mail path to spend those additional budgets, which again, with paper is a challenge, but there are a lot more opportunities popping up. And he is right. There is a mix. There is a mix of, what it is, 50-50, 90-10, 60-40. Every customer has a mix. Just got to figure out what that is.
Yep. That's interesting. So what you're saying, just to be super clear, is that because of some of the changes in how cookies and that sort of technology are operating, it's actually driving an increase for print, correct? Or increased interest in print.
That is correct.
Yep. And Lita, when we were at the D-Scoop conference, 3 weeks ago at this point, I mean, there was a lot of data showing an increase in direct mail as an example, and specific verticals that are starting to use direct mail. Do you remember what those were by chance? You want to share those with everyone?
They were huge. I don't know. It was huge. We can put that back out to everybody. But I will also say you saw this in Europe where all those laws changed on the cookies and data and everything else. And so people had to figure out how to go back through digital and to get information and get people to opt in. So I do think that there's a mix there in making that work.
I see Michael saying, thank you, Dave. It's good stuff. I have to run to work a fish fry. Ironically, there's now a shortage of white fish across the globe as Russia is the #1 fish exporter. The stuff never ends. Yeah, Michael, that is hilarious. There is no shortage of issues these days. So, hey, folks, I want to ask you a question. If you don't have a question for the panel, I want to ask you a question. If you would give us the gift of some feedback here, what was the aha moment that you had today? Or what was the insight that maybe Mike or Drew or Lita or Mackenzie or Joanne surfaced for you that gave you a new way of looking at this situation today? What is it? What is it that stood out to you today? Please give us that gift in LinkedIn or here in Zoom. Danica is saying the idea of transparency with clients. Andrew is adding some context for his business. He's saying they've had 19 months of 20% month-over-month growth, all inbound activity. That is remarkable. Thank you for that, Andrew. Danica, thank you for your comment. What else stood out to the rest of you? We got about 2 minutes left here. I want to know what else stood out to you. Lita and Mackenzie, is there anything else that you feel is important to share before we sign off today around these conversations?
I just think that the one thing that everyone needs to think about as a printer is that sometimes there's this false belief that if we start talking digital, that we're going to lose control over the print, or that digital creates a vulnerability for print. And I think that the big thing we need to take away is that it needs to be an and versus an or. And not only that I want to say this really clearly, digital can drive more print. not the other way around. And so if you're talking the right talk and creating these innovative solutions we talked about, it's not that, oh, we're going to, have print and then digital is going to supplement. No, it's that print plus digital, leveraging that digital piece can actually drive more targeted high value print. And so it's about not just replacing it or supplementing it. It's about shifting your mind to realize that digital can drive print.
Yep, absolutely. Elizabeth is saying, awesome conversation. I know our team has a meeting scheduled on Tuesday. Thank you. This has been a great preview. TGIF is a newbie. It's given me perspective. Elizabeth, that's awesome. Thank you for that. David Murphy is saying print plus digital equals higher response, recall, and ROI, the 3 R's. George is saying, Mike, your comment about the digital downfall due to cookies and the return to direct mail was what stood out to him. Joanne, phygital is what stood out to you, certainly to me as well. Andrew is saying the problem is right now is there's no voice for print in the community. I know, Drew, you're trying to fill that void and you're doing a good job as such. But yes, we need more of you to stand up. Al is saying understanding the real world challenges and the options being invested in. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you all for being here. I don't want to take up more of your time. Hopefully you received value out of the conversation today. If you did and you want to be invited to our next sessions, we're going to be ramping these up as we continue into the year here. Make sure you drop your email into the chat, whether it's LinkedIn or Zoom, and the team will get you signed up. I want to say thank you to all of the panel, to Mike Robinson, to Andrew Edinger, to Lita, Mackenzie, and Joanne Gore. Thank you for your time, but most importantly, thank you to all of you who are here today. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of the day and a fantastic weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.